Welcome to the 2024-2025 dance team season. My name is Jason Nickleby. I'm an assistant director with the league and the director of the officiating program. I will be narrating the first and last portions of this module. In this module, the dance team coordinators will review the 2024-2025 rules changes, points of emphasis, and some important reminders. This was a rules change year, so they will cover those rules changes in depth, and this is also a year that all officials will receive a rules book. The state coordinator and Northern Minnesota regional coordinator for dance team is Becky Blissenbach. Becky King serves as the regional coordinator for Southern Minnesota, and Bridget Tully is the metro area regional coordinator. Judges and coaches should contact your regional coordinator with any questions on rules, rule interpretations, or judging procedures. Contact information for the coordinators can be found in the rules book, on the coach's dashboard, and on the Arbiter Central Hub page. All activities and sports at the league have an advisory committee structure. This committee is very important as far as providing ideas for protocol, process, and potential rules or bylaw/policy changes. If you have an interest in providing some of these ideas that the league can consider moving forward, you should give any one of the individuals on this slide a call or shoot them an email and let them know of your ideas. This committee then meets with Lisa Quidnow, the director of dance team at the league, and any ideas or processes will come out of this committee and will go to the board of directors for their consideration. So again, if you have any ideas on new processes or state tournament structure and so forth, this is the committee that will discuss those ideas and ultimately recommend any proposals to the board for their consideration. MADT is the membership group for coaches of dance team in Minnesota. It is not required that you become a member of this association. However, they provide many valuable benefits for their members, including access to possible changes for process and rules, liability insurance coverage, advocacy as far as coaching and dance team items are concerned before the board of directors, and also any athlete on your team would only be eligible for all state awards if the coach is a member of MADT. This is not a Minnesota State High School League requirement. Any all-state or any other recognitions that go through MADT are part of their program and not the league's. However, we wanted to make all coaches aware of MADT membership and the benefits that you would get from joining MADT, and we recommend that you reach out to MADT leadership to inquire about the benefits and how to register and sign up to be a member with MADT.
Hi, I'm Becky Blissenbach.
I'm Becky King.
And I'm Bridget Tully.
This was a rules change year. This section of the module reviews the changes made to the rules book. Some changes will be emphasized more than others. Additionally, we will discuss adjustments made to the CCD and tabulation program.
The required number of competitors at the varsity level remains the same at a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 34 for high kick and a maximum of 26 for jazz. The change in the rule is that the penalty is now disqualification. If a team is disqualified, they will still receive their score sheets and their recap sheet will be filled out. Note that if a team starts the year competing at the varsity level, they should remain competing at the varsity level throughout the season, even if they were to fall below the required minimum number of competitors. Even with the penalty of disqualification, they would still be able to perform and receive score sheets. A kick is defined as a leg extension above the waist without assistance of hands while standing. Kicks are counted on each extension above the waist. Considering this definition, some examples of kicks, regardless of whether dancers are linked, include but are not limited to straight kicks, open kicks, closed kicks, fans, hinges, flick kicks, hitch kicks, batmas, corkscrew kicks, and tilts. French hinge, pendulum, swing kicks, etc. are counted on each extension above the waist. A leg hold is not a kick because it is assisted by the hands. Reminder, high kick routines must include 35 to 55 kicks above the waist performed by all of the team members. While kicks need to be performed by the entire team, they do not have to be done simultaneously by the entire team. For example, if two groups have alternating kicks, one kick is counted after both groups have completed a kick. Those kicks do not need to be the same kick. Half the team could be doing an open kick, alternating with the other half doing flick kicks. There must be a team turn in jazz routines. The number of rotations and leg placement is team choice. There must also be a team leap or team jump of the team's choosing in jazz routines. These required team skills must be completed by the entire team at the same time. To give benefit of the doubt to teams, all Minnesota State High School League registered officials would need to agree that a team turn or team leap or jump was not completed to give the penalty. The penalty is now disqualification, allowing teams to still receive their score sheets. If a division is interrupted due to circumstances beyond the control of the responsible administrative authorities and cannot be completed that day, the division is considered canceled. Any completed score sheet from the interrupted division will be shredded and the incomplete tabulation file deleted. For example, a meet has completed JV Jazz, Varsity Jazz, and JV Kick divisions, but the power went out in the middle of Varsity Kick and it was determined power would not be returning and so the meet could not be completed. The JV Jazz, Varsity Jazz, and JV Kick divisions would be considered complete and score sheets, awards, etc. would be given out. However, the Varsity Kick division would be considered canceled and any and all Varsity Kick score sheets should be shredded. This way, all the teams within a division will either all receive score sheet feedback or none of the teams will. The category and criteria definitions document is intended to provide definitions and guidance regarding the Minnesota State High School League score sheet criteria. Coaches should not view the document as a checklist, instead as support and clarification. Some adjustments have been made to the document to help clarify and separate categories from one another. The full document is available on Minnesota State High School League Dance Rules Book and Forms webpage. Coaches and officials should carefully review the entire document, in particular, new language, which is in blue, in the difficulty and execution categories.
Some slight adjustments have been made to the TAB program. All tabulators must download the newest version from the MSHSL Dance Team Tabulation webpage. A TAB program update document has been added to the webpage as well to explain the updates along with other tabulation points of emphasis. The link to the Dance Team Tabulation Program and instructions is on the MSHSL website under Activity Resources on either Dance Team page. Officials, please review the TAB updates document carefully. Coaches, please make sure that your meet coordinators and any school-provided tabulators know to download the newest version and review the document. The second to last tab of the program, Score Summary, provides a way for officials and coaches to analyze their scores. Scores are shown from lowest score to highest score for each performance. The median score for each team is highlighted. Half of the team scores at this meet are at or above their median, and half of the team scores are at or below their median. Scores that are more than 5 below or 5 above the median may be considered outliers. If there are outliers, the median is a better representation of a typical score rather than the average. Next up, we have a few reminders and points of emphasis for both coaches and officials. For any questions or interpretations about dance team rules, please email all 3 coordinators. Contact information is on this slide, as well as on the coaches dashboard and Arbiter Central Hub. Interpretations throughout the season will be sent via email from MSHSL as needed. As in previous seasons, we will continue with no on-site uniform checks. Please email all 3 coordinators with questions or concerns. We want to emphasize that uniform penalties are essentially a contest report submission. If an illegal uniform is discovered prior to the team performing, the team or individual is not allowed to compete until the problem is corrected. If the issue is resolved prior to the end of the last dance in their division, they will be allowed to compete after that last performance. If the issue is not resolved by that time, the team is not allowed to compete. The superior judge will submit a contest report. If an illegal uniform is discovered after the team is already on the floor, the team will be allowed to complete their performance and will be scored and tabulated. The superior judge will submit a contest report. The only uniform-related disqualification is for use of a prop. Some uniform notes and interpretations include emphasis on the opaque definition. Opaque means not transparent, not able to be seen through. Fabric on midriffs must be opaque. For example, if belly button is still visible, the fabric is not opaque. If there is a sheer portion, teams generally wear a leotard or line with opaque fabric to become compliant. Similarly, fabric at the neckline needs to be opaque below the 2-inch sternal notch allowance. There can be sheer mesh overlays over the top of the required opaque.
We will also continue with email move checks. Our hope is to proactively give feedback so that teams can make adjustments prior to a performance day. Teams should not choreograph moves that are in violation, and coaches should monitor their team to make sure that each athlete can perform a move correctly to avoid potential execution errors. It is the responsibility of the coach to monitor all moves in a routine for safety, whether stated as a dangerous move or not. If there is a doubt as to whether a move could violate the dangerous move rule, please ask for feedback or leave the move out. Coordinators will provide suggestions to keep moves safe and legal.
This is the specific verbiage regarding dangerous move penalties. If the majority of officials have determined the move is flagrant, it will be a disqualification. However, if the majority of officials agree that the move was minor, potentially the result of execution or adrenaline, then the minor penalty will be assessed. A minor violation is a 1-point deduction per occurrence with a maximum of 5 points.
The most commonly asked questions regarding dangerous moves refers to lifts or stunts. As a reminder, here is the detailed verbiage of those two particular rules. Dancers cannot be inverted without bearing their own weight on the performance floor. When inverted, no part of the body can be above standing waist level without bearing their own weight on the performance floor. Note that moves performed safely within these parameters would be considered under difficulty of choreography. Dancers cannot be inverted without bearing their own weight on the performance floor with their hands. We interpret this as 1 or 2 hands bearing their own weight. In general, we interpret inverted as the direction of the upper body being in a downward slope, in particular hips above the head. Moves we have seen that make a lift mount illegal. The lifted dancer becomes inverted. Lifts that have legs moving during the lift will become illegal if at some point during the lift the dancer's legs are both above the waist with no other body part below standing waist.
The image on the left shows a legal lift. The lifted dancer stays below standing waist level. The dancer is never in an inverted position at any point during the move. The image on the right shows an illegal move. The head and upper body are in an inverted position while the dancer is not bearing their weight on the floor. When inverted, no part of the body can be above standing waist level without bearing their own weight on the performance floor.
This image is an example of where a dancer is inverted without bearing their own weight on the performance floor. Even though the lowest part of the lifted dancer is below standing waist level, because the dancer is inverted and not bearing their own weight on the performance floor, this move is not legal. The stunt rule indicates that no part of the body can be in a vertical inversion above standing waist level without the dancer bearing their own weight on the performance floor.
This is the specific rule verbiage regarding competition injury and competing again. If a dancer is injured during a routine, the coach may decide to terminate the routine. The coach can request a retrial at the end of their class, dancing without the injured dancer, or the coach can choose to have officials score based on what was performed until music was stopped. If time, kick, and jazz requirements were met at the point the routine was terminated, there wouldn't be deductions for them and the routine scored as is. If time, kick, or jazz requirements weren't met at that point, the appropriate deduction per the rules book would be taken. This is the specific rule verbiage regarding bleeding injury. Bleeding injuries are addressed a bit differently than other injuries. If the routine is terminated because of a bleeding incident, the dancer could be treated and allowed to dance in the team's retrial. Also, if there is bleeding while in the hole or on deck, the coach can request to be moved to the end of their division to allow time for proper treatment. Let's have a quick refresher on scoring and tabulation. Remember, each routine is scored by each judge independently using the Minnesota State High School League score sheet and scale. The same scale is used for all levels, all classes, and all regions of the state. Judging each of the 10 score sheet categories starts at a 5, which is average, and scores move up or down the scale in each category based on the entire routine and performance. Scores are based solely on a team's performance that day at that specific competition. The Minnesota State High School League tabulation programs were designed for efficient and accurate tabulation of meet results. If you will be hosting a meet, ensure that a computer with Microsoft Excel and internet access is available for tabulation. Final placement at a meet is based on officials independently scoring and ranking teams. Note that it is possible for Team A to have a higher point total than Team B, but receive a lower overall placement because of the ranking systems. Please see the rules book for more detailed information on the score sheet, scoring, tabulation, and ranking systems.
Hi, this is Jason. I'm back to cover a few administrative items before concluding this module. The league does not monitor or have any direct recommendations regarding planning practices or the structure of those practices. You should really work through your activities director and your school district if you have questions about how this should look. But we wanted to give you some pointers and some thoughts to consider as we move forward with the season. You should keep in mind that longer practices do not necessarily equate to productive practices. Research shows that after 90 minutes, the value of practice diminishes quickly. Student athletes learn and retain more and are safer with shorter, well-planned practices. Additionally, the new, shorter routines mean less choreography to learn at practice, allowing more time to focus on technique, skills, and physical development with injury prevention in mind. Proper facilities, footwear, ample warm-up time, and stretching can also prevent injuries. It is a coach's responsibility to monitor your athletes and their abilities to execute skills safely and with proper technique to avoid overuse or injury. Dancers should not perform moves if they cannot execute safely. Regulate the number of repetitions and allow adequate time to rest and recover throughout practices and over the course of the season. As a reminder, if a coach, parent, or other concerned party has an eligibility question such as chemical or behavior issues, should direct those inquiries to the activities director. Even in situations where the AD brings this to the attention of the officials, the AD is responsible for handling the situation. Officials are not to be involved in alleged bylaw violations and are not to rule on such matters. We are looking to add the concept of a pregame administrative and medical timeout during the 2024-2025 season. This meeting will take place approximately 10 minutes before the contest begins and will hopefully be led by a site administrator. The meeting will cover sportsmanship, what to do with a challenging situation such as an unruly spectator or other disruption, and medical emergency planning. We hope this meeting will get administrators, coaches, and officials on the same page going into their respective contest.